So we will see how this goes. So basically, I'll wait to see if anybody shows up. This is, like I said, my first time going here. But these are some of the books I am currently reading, and I wanted to try this for a while. Essentially, this shelf here is what I've been looking at. For fans of the channel, I do read and dabble off and on with a lot of stuff all at the same time, so it's not uncommon for me to grab other books than just these. But these are some of the ones I've been making my way through recently. So I have here Superman Camelot Falls, the deluxe edition. I did get this deluxe edition from friend of the channel, Illuminati. Thank you again, Tyler. Really enjoying making my way through that. It's definitely different than a lot of the stuff I've checked out before. Over here we have X-Force. This is the Benjamin Percy run. I'm a really big fan of these oversized hardcovers from Marvel. Really fun stuff. I'm really excited to finally have the volume 2. Yeah, you can see that there. Really excited about that. And then I actually just got in last night, these two here actually. So I got Rogue Sun, part of the Massiveverse, so like the Radiant Black universe over at Image. I had this recommended by a couple people, and so I decided to go ahead and check it out. I just started it last night. This is Volume 1, Cataclysm. It sounds like a supernatural-based superhero, basically, so pretty cool on that, kind of exciting. The other thing I got in last night was actually this Epic Collection. It's the first I have of these modern Epic Collections. So this stuff was published in 2011 to 2012. A little bit of Dan Slott, a lot of Rick Remender. This is the Agent Venom era where Flash Thompson becomes Venom as part of a kind of super soldier project. Anyway, I've seen Agent Venom show up in other things throughout the years, but this is the first time I'm actually reading his proper stuff, and I'm really into it. Some other things I'm reading right now, I'm getting really close to finishing this guy, the Iron Fist by Danny Rand, the Early Years Omnibus. This is another Bronze Age book I was really excited to check out. Like I said, I'm almost done with it. It's very different than I expected. Really can't wait to talk about this in the upcoming weeks. Has a great handful of issues there. Let's see if you can see it. Really, like I said, excited about this one. Looking forward to reviewing for the channel. So I've been doing that. Simultaneously, I've also been reading the Immortal Iron Fist and the Immortal Weapons Omnibus. This is obviously a much more contemporary run on Iron Fist. This is the Ed Brubaker and kind of Matt Fraction stuff. Really cool. Like I said, I'm really liking this a lot as well. And honestly, it's been really fun to read these together, to read both this kind of Bronze Age run and a more contemporary run. I also have been reading these in tandem with reading through the this is the Ed Brubaker Omnibus. I've been reading these while also watching the original Netflix series of Iron Fist. I know that that's gotten some criticism, but honestly, I've really... okay, can you guys hear me still? Am I still live? Uh-oh. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully I'm still going. Anyway, I've actually been reading these two while reading that Netflix, or watching that Netflix series, which has been really fun. So I'm really entrenched in Iron Fist right now, so I've really liked that. Oh, okay. Killer 36 Eyes. Let's see. Can you give a small synopsis of Iron Fist and why we should read him? Okay, cool. So Iron Fist, Danny Rand, his whole backdrop is basically, as a kid, his parents die or get murdered on their way to this mysterious kind of mystical city called Kunlun. It's a kind of monk monastic martial arts order, and it's this immortal city that only crosses into our plane every decade. His father wants to take them there for one reason or another. The family doesn't even know if it's real. And basically, yeah, the family dies and Danny gets taken in by these monks and he gets trained. And ultimately, he becomes like this ultimate warrior. He passes this test, defeating this dragon, essentially, and he gets the Immortal Iron Fist. His abilities are basically, he's a super proficient martial artist, and he can channel his chi into his fist to give him like a super punch. He can also do other stuff with that. It all debuted here in the pages of Marvel Premiere. You can see there the first issue. But we basically start as sort of a revenge narrative, actually, where he's trying to avenge the death of his parents. He comes back to the mortal plane, leaving Kunlun with these abilities. And that's where it starts. And it's really interesting. So this is Bronze Age, so like 70s. But I've really, really dug it so far. I think if you're a fan of martial arts comics, this is not one to miss out on. If you don't like going all the way back to the Bronze Age, like 70s era, this is really largely considered, I think, the best run on Iron Fist, the Immortal Iron Fist. This also includes the Immortal Weapons. Like I said, this is really from Ed Brubaker and then Matt Fraction. There are some other creators that come in later, but those are the main ones. Let me see if I can show you some of the art real quick. This one's really cool. It involves kind of the history of the Iron Fist and kind of like older Iron Fists. But it also has this like crazy immortal martial arts tournaments. So it looks a lot like, kind of like a lot of anime and manga inspired stuff with the kind of like forbidden mystical martial arts tournaments. I'm thinking things like Yu Yu Hakusho. I grew up with that anime. Anyway, I'm getting vibes of that. I really like it. These also, especially this one, it feels separated from the Marvel Universe in many ways. You do have some crossover, but this is just a straight up kind of mythical martial arts comic book. So very fun. Definitely recommend this one as well. But hope to do a review on both of these actually once I complete them. It'll probably be this one first. So stay tuned on the channel if you'd like to get more on that. Oh, what's up, Tristan? Hi, I see you in the chat. Lewis as well. Hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for liking the video. Okay, so that's a little bit on Iron Fist. Hopefully that's a good sampling for you. But again, stay tuned if you want more on that. People, I'm not sure if you saw on my channel, I did review the first Avengers Omnibus recently. So I'm actually on Volume 2. So this is still right in the Silver Age of the Avengers. This era, eventually, I think Roy Thomas takes over. So it starts with Stan Lee, and then I think Roy Thomas on writing. But very cool. I'm eager for this. I really actually like the Avengers Omnibus a lot. So again, this is still Silver Age, so they're a bit dated. But this Omnibus looks like it ends with kind of the birth of Vision for fans of that character. Or maybe you haven't read him a ton, but like me, you've really liked him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you've seen him pop up here and there. Really excited to actually get to the origin of Vision. He's actually on my spine there, if you can see it. Not sure how the quality is on this. Again, this is my first time really live streaming on the channel, so hopefully you like it. I'm giving it a try. Would love to get feedback on this. Moving along, though, what else am I reading? I can't remember if I've talked about this much. I'm reading The X Factor by Peter David, Volume 2 right now. Really excited about this. Some time ago, I actually reviewed the Volume 1. Here, actually, in my closet here. I reviewed this some time ago on the channel. This is the Volume 1 Peter David. This is his 90s run on the title. And then he picks back up in the early 2000s. This one occurs right around House of M, which I also reviewed on the channel. But basically, you don't really need to read the Volume 1. It's a 90s series that establishes some of his team and things like that, but it feels pretty disconnected from what's going on here. But really like this. So this occurs right after House of M. The mutants are in a different state than they were prior to that event. I won't spoil it here. But basically, the mutant community is really in disarray in the Marvel Universe, and the Multiple Man, Jamie Madrox, he kind of founds this sort of thing called X Factor Investigations, and he basically tries to help out mutants, he solves mutant crimes, and he gets entrenched in a lot of mutant-based politics. Really, really good stuff. The art is awesome. There's a lot of drama here, a lot of humor. Peter David just out in full effect here. Love this. One of the reasons I'm returning to this is actually I loved, oh, hey, what's up, Afro SF? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm surprised too. I've wanted to try live streaming. I've never tried it before. Hopefully it's going okay. I'm just going to dabble with it and see. I don't really have a great setup, but I, again, wanted to try it. But yeah, I'm reading Volume 2 because the Volume 3 just came out this past week. So really eager in continuing this run. But this right here, yeah, really excited. This one's actually, I'm like burning through this pretty good, loving it. It's, again, a more modern run, came out like early to mid 2000s, like the Knots. And yeah, just really digging it. Strong guy here. One of my favorite mutants we got to see in this run that introduced him to the team up here. Yeah, great character. This is a really fun follow-up to that 90s run. Again, I don't think it's essential. You can probably start with the Volume 2. Just because it's that different of a vibe. But I've liked it, and I feel like I know the characters a bit more reading that previous run. Last book that's really on my like current reads, Spider-Man Clone Saga. Just did an unboxing for the Volume 2 of the Clone Saga yesterday. Actually, I dropped it on the channel. But yeah, really liking this. These, I actually had the entire Clone Saga and Ben Reilly Saga in those big paperbacks they released some time ago. I don't know, there's maybe like 11 of them. Had them all. I ended up actually selling them when I thought I was getting out of comics years ago. Little did I know I would start a YouTube channel and get back in. But anyway, these were things I wanted to get back in the collection, and the paperbacks are out of print and expensive. And at the time, all of these volumes, all the omnibuses for the Clone era were out of print. So when I heard that Marvel was reprinting, I tried to just pick up as much as I could. And I just ordered the fourth and final. For those that don't know, there are two Clone Saga omnibuses, and then they go over to the Ben Reilly era here. So anyway, I'm not sure how much I'm going to get in the reread right away, but I'm for sure going through this volume 1 to start, but really digging it. Let's look at the comments again. Tristan, I've read some books so far. Silver Surfer by Slott and Allred. Love that. You know, I've heard good things about Wonder Woman Dead Earth. I haven't read that, or New Frontier. I know I'm a bad DC fan. I know New Frontier is supposed to be like life-changing. Haven't read that Miles Morales by Ziegler. I'm actually reading, it's not here, but I should grab it as well. I'm actually reading, I just realized, the Saladin Ahmed Omnibus. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but really liking that after the Bendis era on, you know, the Miles Morales Spider-Man. What else? I'm so glad I'm not the only one who enjoys the Clone Saga, right? Oh, I'm such a big fan. And, you know, this is one of the most reviled and polarizing runs, I think, in Spider-Man's history. It's like this and the back end of JMS, I feel like get a lot of criticism. And the modern one by Zeb Wells, I think, is getting kind of some backlash. But anyway, I understand why people don't like this. A lot of people think it's a big, bloated, convoluted mess. They think they jumped the shark. They think it's whatever. I don't know if it's the 90s kid in me or the nostalgia factor here, but I love the Clone Saga. Been talking about it a lot, but it's just a lot of fun. I love the art as well. I love Ben Reilly as a character. Ooh, we got Ben Reilly versus Venom. Oh, just really good stuff here. But yeah, really been enjoying that. Let's see, I wanted to start reading Wolverine Omnibus Volume 1, but it's out of print. I was wondering what Omni I should start with. Ooh, that's a good question. I do like the Volume 1. Let's see if I can show you. I didn't really rig my closet for viewing, but let's see, I got some Wolverine Omnibuses down here. I like that Volume 1. Honestly, it's really good. I'm not sure if Wolverine and the X-Men is still in print, but that's another fun one too. That one's really different. Basically, Wolverine fills the shoes of Professor Xavier, opens his own class. That's kind of a different one. I also know sometimes the Wolverine Epic collections. I'm not sure if it's still in print, but Madripoor Nights is also a good place to start. Again, also not an omnibus, but if you find the Wolverine miniseries from Frank Miller and I think Chris Claremont, where Wolverine like goes to Japan and stuff, really fun place to start for solo adventures with that character. Have not read the Crow graphic novel, but always interested in recommendations. Let's see. Bunkmaster B, what is up? Looks like nothing at the moment, instead sharing the comic collection. Yeah, that's true. I guess technically I am not actively reading these. I am presenting right now, but I did want to, again, kind of just show you guys what I'm reading. And again, I am reading more than this. I'm still going through Kelly Thompson's Captain Marvel run, really enjoying that. I'm still dabbling with some of the, what else am I reading? Feels like I'm reading just everything, but these are like my active reads for the most part. So again, some of these you'll probably see reviewed on the channel in the future, but just because they're not here doesn't mean I won't review them soon. Let's see. Tristan says, I read over 28 books so far this year. Wow, and we're only in mid-March. Doing great there. Good job. People tell me I have too many books. Yes, so I'm still collecting. I don't have as many as some, but my collection is definitely growing. I'm thankful for that. I don't know if I've shared this on the channel. I should do like a secret origin someday, but I used to collect these collected editions like over a decade ago. Really loved doing it, but I went off the rails a little bit. I never really budgeted, so I would find myself spending way too much and then having to sell or what have you. And I actually got out of the hobby for like 5 or 6 years. I didn't collect or read at all. And then I got married, got a little bit more responsible with my budget, and started doing it where like after tithing and bills, responsibilities, things like that, we had a little bit in our budget for fun money at the very end, and that became kind of my comic budget. And so I've been kind of living off the budget. I've gotten some gifts over the years. Organic Price Books, our sponsor, really awesome. And so slowly building up the collection. But with all these omnibuses, especially me, I'm a huge Marvel fan, with everything they're releasing, I just have to be picking and choosing because there's just so much. Right now, my big goal has been these Clone Saga and Ben Reilly omnibuses. So Getting that built up. Let's see. Do you think it's okay to skip volume 1 of any omnibus and still enjoy the character and series? Great question. I think it's kind of case by case, but I'm going to go ahead and say absolutely. There is this completionist in me that always loves starting with a volume 1, but there's some cases where I think it's really fine to jump in with a volume 2. And actually a great, probably my best example for that is actually this X Factor run that I mentioned earlier in the live stream. This occurred in the 90s, Peter David on X Factor, but then he came back to the book like a decade or so later. Picked up with a lot of the same characters, but the narrative and where everyone was at changed a ton. So honestly, I think that this is a good example where you can start with the volume 2 and still feel like you're getting in on the ground floor without missing much. Bunkmaster B, are you planning to get the X Factor by Peter David, volume 3? I sure am, sir. I actually ordered that, so that should be coming in the next week or two. That's one of my impetus for going back to this, because I got this some time ago. I read the Madrox miniseries that opened this omnibus, and then I kind of shelved it for a minute. But yeah, I'm eager to get to volume 3. I need the new Warworld saga. Yes, I've been hearing great recommendations for Superman. I am a Superman fan. Right now, my Superman read I'm still making my way through is, I started the video mentioning this briefly, but the Superman Camelot Falls Deluxe Edition from Kurt Busiek and Carlos Pacheco. Really fun so far. I'm really enjoying this. I got this from a giveaway from friend of the channel, Tyler, over at Illuminerdy. Which reminds me, if you have never checked out Illuminerdy on YouTube, check him out. Tyler is a great dude. He has such a passion for comics. He grew up reading them. He does primarily collected edition, hardcover omnibuses, but he's done a little bit of everything. He's done single issues. Anyway, I know he's a huge Superman fan. Apparently this is one of his favorites, so I've been really eager to read that. I'm also still making my way through the Superman by Tomasi and Gleason omnibus, which I picked up after finally getting this one. Love the Batman and Robin omnibus. Started over here, another great father-son based Superman arc. As a father of young children myself, actually boys, love reading this so far. So still reading that, but I do want to check out that Warworld saga. I've heard really good things. Tristan, are you thinking of getting the Ultimate Universe by Jonathan Hickman omnibus? You know, I've thought about it. I've toyed with it. I am a huge Hickman fan. Another thing I'm still getting through are his Avengers run. So I find myself focusing on this more so before the Ultimates one. So it's just going to kind of depend. We'll see. Oh, Dustin, it's technically omnibuy. Oh, I'm all about it. You know, English is really funny that way. Why is it mongooses and not mongoose, but goose to geese is a thing? Anyway, super fun. So yeah, omnibuy. I guess that's like octopi. Is that still a thing? Let's see. Do you own any Star Wars omnibuses? So I don't have it over here. I have it in my other bookcase across the way. I haven't prepped, but I do have the Star Wars by Jason Aaron omnibus. Love that book. I just featured it on a video recently on the channel for comics I wish I read earlier because it opened my eyes to comics that don't have their IP starting in the comic book medium, but still being good. Like obviously Star Wars started as a film franchise, and yet those comics are amazing. They jump right off the page. I did do a full review on that as well. You know what, Bunkmaster B, shame on me. I actually didn't get X Factor from OPB. I had a situation and I picked it up somewhere else, but I always recommend Organic Price books. Love them. They are still my favorite comic book seller. I love them for pre-orders especially. I find myself doing all my pre-orders from Organic Price books and a good deal of my shopping as well. Yes, if you do want to go to Organic Price Books website, I do have an affiliate code, the Comic Book Report. It'll save you $2 off of any order. If you order from that, though, I do get a bit of a commission, but thank you in advance if you decide to do that. Thank you, Bunkmaster. Appreciate that. Really want to read Tomasi Gleason Superman. Yeah, you know, I'm really loving this. Gleason's art is just really gripping, and I really like what he does with Superman. I'll bring that down here. Still going through this, but I kind of backburnered it a bit just as other things came up. But here's like a sampling of that Superman by Tomasi and Gleason. This one really has him building that father-son relationship with Jonathan Kent, his son. He's still younger. This is before they aged him up and he took on the mantle of Superman himself. But it's really a heartwarming series so far. I'm really liking it. There's a lot of just old-fashioned Superman goodness in this run as well that I just find myself loving. I'm a sucker for a good Superman story, and this is one I've really enjoyed so far. Like I said, still reading this. I do want to pick up Warworld hopefully one day, and I do want to read Superman Space Age. I've heard really good things about that. I know in particular, what's his name? Jess from Omnidog's Vault really liked Superman Space Age, so I've been hearing recommendations for that as well. Okay, with the constant influx of Omnis, what are some Omnis that you try to return to monthly? Some of your favorites? Ooh, great question. So I think with all of the Omnis that come in, I do reread, but I'm a little bit more sparse. Like I don't think I reread any Omnis on a monthly basis. I'm usually reading new things on a monthly basis. But not uncommon for me to revisit. I know revisits that occur more frequently. Batman by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. This thing has, you know, Long Halloween, the sequel Dark Victory, Haunted Night, and Catwoman When in Rome. This is an incredible book. Definitely try to reread Long Halloween when I can. Same with actually the Scott Snyder Greg Capullo run on Batman. Particularly Court of Owls. I find myself revisiting that quite often. Yeah. How do you organize your books, says Dustin. Really great question. Do you do it alphabetically, by timeline, by writers? I can never decide myself. Okay, well, it's great you bring this up. I was nervous to do live because, as you might have even seen looking at my shelf here, there's not a great discernible order. And I'm sure a lot of you guys that are more particular with order are already screaming at me like, how could you do this? One of the reasons I haven't done a collection tour, other than that I don't have a huge collection, I mean bigger than some maybe, I'm definitely thankful for it. I have like a couple bookcases in there, here, and then one in the corner of the room, and that's my whole collection right now. But I find myself pretty unorganized. It's definitely not alphabetical. I would say it's by publisher, but even that is a bit wonky. Like, okay, this is a good example. So I moved this row around to present and film for today, but here's a good example of how I organize things. So I'm like, okay, I'll start with a character I like for no other reason than he's my favorite for DC, Batman. And the order, I'm like, okay, well, what order makes sense? Well, I think Batman Black and White kind of stands on its own. I could do publication order, but that didn't appeal to me. So I feel like this is a random one that I could put at the beginning or the end. Let's just do the beginning for no other reason than that. Batman by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. This is another one that feels classic. I know Long Halloween is considered earlier in the timeline, so I think that's why I put him next. Then I tried to do rough chronological, so like Scott Snyder in tandem with the Tomasi Gleason era. Then we have the Batman, the Detective Comics era, which is during the Rebirth era, so that came next. And then I'm like, okay, Batman, what's adjacent? I guess Batgirl, so I put that next. And then I'm like, okay, what's adjacent to that? Let's go Dick Grayson, so I did, you know, the Grayson Omnibus. One of my next favorite DC characters, Superman, so I did like my Superman Omnis. These are kind of chronological, I guess, at that point. Then Flash. Anyway, not some great organization. Actually, you could probably use your tip on that. Down here's another good example of my organization. Like, I go to Batman, like paperbacks and standard hardcovers. This is me trying to go like chronological history of Batman and actually failing, to be honest with you. But you know, I'm always rifling through these for best of videos, or I flip through them on occasion. Definitely a Batman fan. Anyway, my organization needs some work. I'm hoping to get a little more organized and then eventually do a tour video for everyone. I know that's been requested. Well, anyway, guys, this video I was actually hoping just to be 5 or 10 minutes, but your comments have been awesome. I've actually had a ton of fun with this. Let me know if this is something you'd like to see more of. I think I'm going to wrap it up because I got to do some stuff. I'm going to go do some stuff with my family today. So thank you guys for all coming out. This really meant a lot to me, and I'm having a blast here. So thank you. Again, if you decide to order anything from Organic Price Books and you want to use my code, the Comic Book Report will save you $2. Anyway, thank you for coming out. Appreciate you guys, and have a great weekend. Bye.